Hey, I've got some exciting news to share with you. My friend Al Morenton from MyFitLife, the guy who literally saved his own sight with Rick Simpson Oil, has just become our trusted wellness partner. And to celebrate this partnership, Al is offering something incredible just for our listeners. When you use the code Cannabis Health, you'll get a 20% discount on all cannabis products and wellness supplements. But here's the special part. If you get the complete 60-gram Rick Simpson Protocol Kit during August, you'll receive an additional 10% off, which is 30% off your entire order. Plus, Al's throwing in his 21-day reset program absolutely free, which is a $249 value. The offer ends August 31st, so don't wait. The website is myfitlife.net/cannabishealth to schedule your consultation and mention Cannabis Health Radio to receive your special discount.
Welcome to Cannabis Health Radio, where we share powerful, real-life stories from people around the world who are using cannabis as medicine. The goal of this podcast is to raise awareness of the healing potential of cannabis and is not intended as medical advice. And now, here's your host, Ian Jessup.
And welcome to the Cannabis Health Radio podcast. I'm Ian Jessup. In November of 2024, our guest today received some devastating news. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer that had metastasized to his lymph nodes, bones, and spine. As I've mentioned on previous podcasts, the rate of lung cancer deaths is increasing, with nearly 2 million people worldwide dying from it each year. But today is a good news story, and joining us from Texas to share his experience is Keith J. Keith, how do you feel today compared to November of last year?
Oh, I'm night and day. I mean, it's not even in the same atmosphere. I feel fantastic. Very grateful. First of all, for obviously my great news, but I'm super grateful to be on this show. And I have to say right from the get-go, thank you for this show, because listening to years and years of people, just ordinary folks like myself, getting help with life debilitating, medical situations was so integral to my mindset and my will to keep going with this, because there are some absolutely awe-inspiring stories and fantastic, miraculous, strong people in the database of this radio show. So I'm really, really grateful to be on this show. But yeah, I feel fantastic today.
That's really good. What were some of the symptoms you were experiencing prior to your diagnosis?
Yes, right. So I would say, basically a year, August of 2024, I started feeling a soreness in my right side, like kind of in the rib area. And it wasn't like a sharp pain. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a kind of a dull soreness that got stronger when I laid down to go to sleep. I'm a side sleeper. So I would feel it, but it wasn't like super painful, but it was definitely sore. And I just wrote it off at the time. I was like, because I exercise, I work out, and I was like, I probably pulled a muscle. Didn't really pay a whole lot of attention, busy with life, family, and everything else. So, I went on a cruise in October of last year, 2024. And right before the cruise started, I developed a cough, did the COVID testing that cruises make you do, negative. And I didn't think anything of the cough either, because everybody in my family had it as well. So I just figured, we just all got kind of, I don't know, some late summer flu or something, or early fall flu. And I was coughing the entire trip. I still had a great time, but it was strange. It's, lung cancer is this silent, thing that can get, confused with, a cold or a flu or something else. It was basically a tickle in the back of my throat that I couldn't get rid of. It's like usually if you cough, you can clear the phlegm or you can clear whatever the obstruction is. It would never clear. But I still didn't think anything of it because everybody else had the cough. But the difference was when I got back and I went back to work, I had, coworkers and other employees telling me like, man, you've had this cough for a while now. I mean, you've had this cough for a while, a month and a half. You might want to get that checked out. And I just kept going like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But it didn't. It got worse. And so in November, like mid-November or so, late November, I decided to go just to an urgent care. I didn't even go to my general practitioner. I just went to an urgent care. And they gave me, some antibiotics. I think it was like a 5-day or 3-day or 5-day or the Z-Pack, right? They're like, oh, they listened to my lungs and the doctor was like, yeah, I don't hear any fluid. So here's a Z-Pack, come back in 5 days and we'll see then. So I took it, went about my life, came back. He listened to the lungs again. He's like, oh, there's no flu in there again. And how do you feel? I'm like, I think I feel better. And he's like, all right. And he was about to have me go or, have me, check out of the office. And I said, you know what, Doc, can you just humor me and give me a chest x-ray because I still have the cough. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. So long story short, there was cloudiness in my right lung. And he goes, oh, you might have pneumonia. So then he gave me a much stronger dose of antibiotics on a 10-day cycle, which I went and did, and came back and still had the cough. And I go, I think I feel better though. And then he listened again, and he was going to send me away again. I was like, Doc, please don't send me away yet. Can you just humor me again and give me another chest x-ray? I just want to see if the cloudiness is, improving or is gone or something. So gave me the chest x-ray, and long story short, he goes, okay, you need to go see a pulmonologist. I was like, okay. I went to the pulmonologist, and I remember sitting in the office with my wife, and we were talking to her, and just in the top of my head, I was like, do I have lung cancer? And she goes, oh, no, let's not jump to conclusions. Wow. We're going to CT scan you. We're going to do the CT with contrast, and we'll see what's going on. So I did the CT, and then it's okay. You want to just keep talking here? Or,
no,
okay.
That's good.
Give me the CT. Yeah, give me the CT scan. And she was like, okay, you have a bunch of masses in your right chest, your left chest. We're seeing it. She's like, there's might be some spread on your spine, or there is some spread on your spine. There might be some spread on your right rib, one of your right rib cages. And we don't know yet, but we're gonna have to biopsy you. So of course I go in for a biopsy pretty quick, and I think within the next day or something. It was fast scheduled, and sure enough, I wake up and you can see my wife's face, and she was just like, they've already told me it's cancer, and I'm like, oh, absolutely shocked. Just shocked. I was like, it's cancer. Like I feel, except for my cough and a soreness on my right side, I feel okay. That's what the crazy thing. I didn't know nothing about lung cancer. Yeah. That's the thing about lung cancer. It's the silent killer, as they say. You usually don't know about it until you have the symptoms, until it's quote too late.
It's just that word. It's just that word cancer, which it's devastating,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh my gosh! And what's and the more let me, before I jump ahead, they send me to a PET scan afterwards because they want to see what else. And the PET scan is where they give you the radioactive glucose because cancer eats sugar and glucose. And it's highly sensitive. So they want to see where it's active in the body. And so sure enough, all of the areas, it was active. And I'll tell you, I listen to a lot of stories. My personal one was the largest tumor was in my right lung, and it was over 2 inches. That was the largest one. And then there was a scatter of maybe 4 or 5 other various sizes of tumors in my right lung. I had a small one in my left lung. This is from the PET scan. This is how they knew. Definitely on my right rib, my spine, and I had it in my lymph nodes in my abdomen area. It lit up as well. And I still remember after the PET scans, getting dressed and and so forth to leave. And the head technician, I came up, I could see his face, and he was obviously very empathetic, and I could just see it though in his face, like, you're a dead man. But he was like, you could see, he was like, he's like, because he can't talk about your results,
Yeah.
of course, but he goes, oh my gosh, if there's anything I can do, please let me know, let anybody at our staff know if you have any follow-up questions. And I could just see him, and I'm just, remember, this is just a blur. Like, everything's just like, I've been diagnosed, and now it's all over my body. And I'm like, and I saw his face, and you could tell he's like, oh, this guy, you're a goner. So, basically, hey, my condolences, anything I can do for you, buddy, sort of thing. Anyway, so.
Did they give you a timeline at all on how long you had?
No, they didn't. And
that's good.
I know I hear a lot of stuff, and I would ignore it anyways. I would, Ian, I'm telling you right now, I would have ignored it. Because now at the time I didn't know about cannabis. So I didn't ask. I probably would ignore it because I'm a very positive person. But yes, it was devastating. And I'll tell you, one of the things that was really devastating and emotional for me, the more after my PET scan on my way home, is that, I have a couple of kids, and my daughter at the time was 4 years old. I'm a little bit of an older dad. And I was thinking to myself, what's really sad about this is that if when I pass, she's likely not even going to really remember me. You have some fleeting, fragmented, some people do at least. I don't remember much at 4, but I have a lot of friends that tell me, oh, I remember this or that, but it's very fragmented. And I thought, like, my gosh, I'm going to die, and my daughter's not even going to know me. And even and I have a son too, and he's 8 years old. And, even him, like, it'll be like really, really ancient memories by the time he's even a teen. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was some pretty dark days for sure at the beginning.
What options of conventional treatment were you offered?
Okay, yeah. So, my first oncologist, she said, okay, because of the spread, you're not a candidate for radiation. And looking back, thank gosh, because I know the success rate now on radiation are 3% or what have you. So I'm like, you're not a candidate for radiation. She's like, you're not a candidate for surgery because it's too scattered. We can do chemo. And then she also mentioned, with non-small cell lung cancer, there is, I don't know I don't want to give the wrong numbers, but I think it's in the 30 percentile or something. There's 30% of people with non-small cell lung cancer that have a gene, that their cancer has a gene deletion. And there is a drug out there, a pill we can give you called Tagrisso, that will target the gene deletion in the lung cancer. And she goes, you're also Asian. And she goes, we might as well do this because 40% of the Asians with non-small cell lung cancer have that gene deletion. So she's like, we got nothing to lose. Let's go ahead and do that, or do the testing, see if you are. So we did the testing, and I was positive for it. So she said, great, we can put you on this plus chemotherapy. So we're going to do this in conjunction. And I said, well, what's the benefit? I mean, besides what I think might be the obvious answer, what is the benefit, doctor, of doing targeted therapy? And by the way, doctor, is this targeted therapy, does this pill actually kill the cancer? And she goes, it stops the progress. It can shrink tumors initially, but its main thing is to just stop the metastasis or from the cancer metastasizing further. Yeah. It buys you time. And I'm like, how much time? She goes, well, if everything works and it does well, it can give you, can buy you maybe a year and a half. And she goes, because the pill, often the body, cancer, figures it out after about a year and a half, 2 years or so. So she's like, it'll stop it for a year and a half. And if we do chemo with it, it will give you another 6 months. And I was not that keen on chemo. I was like, at the time I was like, okay, doc, just listen to what the doctors going by their advice. But I'm like, do I have to do it? Is it necessary to do chemo? And she goes, well, no. But she goes, well, she wouldn't really give me a straight answer. But what she just basically was pitching me and trying to tell me that by doing it in conjunction with chemo, it's going to give you some more time, Keith. You really should be considering this. At that time, though, I actually was looking to switch doctors anyways because I wanted to go into a larger health system because I thought, oh, there might be clinical trials ongoing. They might be reacting and going faster than this office apparently was doing with their test results and things because it's kind of in a closed ecosystem. So I'm like, all right. So I look for another doctor in a larger medical system near, in the city. So, and I found one and I switched over. And she, was like, you don't need to do chemo. We can add that in at any time. Let's just try the pill at first and see how it works. So, they put the order in for the pill. I didn't get the pill I didn't start that treatment for another month to a month and a half because of insurance. That's a whole other thing. Yeah. But oh my gosh, the insurance was pushing back on everything saying, and I'm like, I have stage 4 lung cancer. I don't know what else we have to prove. It's coming from my doctors, and they're still pushing back on it. So that's another thing. But during this time, my wife, of course, was telling everybody out there, and I get messaged by one of her cousins. I'll call him Cousin H, and who I know. I've known for a while, and he's like, "Hey Keith, are you open to alternative therapy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I've done a lot of alternative diets and things throughout my life and all these things. So I'm like, I'm open-minded. I'm like, I wasn't panicked, and like, or anything. I was just like, yeah, sure. I'll listen. What's going on? So he started sending me articles on CBD, THC, and cancer. And he also said, hey, I have 2 doctors that work in cannabis, and I've been doing this a while, and I want you to talk to them. And so I talked to individually to these 2 different doctors on the phone, and they were awesome, wonderful people, and so forth. And they were talking about, THC and CBD, and nothing against them at all. No, it was great and all this stuff. But I kept telling them, like, I don't know if I could do THC. I'm like, I get paranoid like no other on this. I'm like, I smoked a joint like 10 years ago, and prior to that, it had been another like 10 years or something. And I'm like, I don't know what they're engineering this stuff with now, but I'm like, that was it. It is so heavy duty. I'm like, you're expecting me to do a bunch. And he's like, well, you can still do CBD. We can just add a little bit of THC in and all this stuff. And we can send you a care package and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then Cousin H, after the call, goes, hey, Keith, there's somebody too I think you should reach out to. Her name is Corrie Yelland. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, how do I get a hold of her? And he's like, just message her on Facebook. And just find her page and message her and so forth. And he's like, she's really at the forefront of a lot of this. And I'm like, I didn't know who she was. I mean, now I owe everything to her. But like at the time I didn't know who she was. And I was like, okay, sure. So I messaged her on Facebook and not expecting her to actually even answer me, to be quite frank. I just messaged her and just, kind of moved on. And within like 20 minutes, she messaged back and she was like, hey, I'm finishing up dinner. Let's Zoom for an hour, have a pen and paper ready. And let's meet. So I was like, wow, okay, that was quick. And that was it. I met with her for, just like she said, for an hour. Yeah. We went over so many things. She gave me a whole protocol. She was friendly, but very matter of fact. I get it. She, and it was, and that just changed everything, obviously. And that's when I started on her protocol.
Yeah, it's interesting. Corrie did that almost. She did it 7 days a week. From the time she got up till the time she went to bed, she was just there to help people. Even near the end, when she, just prior to going in hospital with polymyalgia rheumatica, she was there to help people. And one interesting thing, I think it was about the time, I guess, that you had a conversation with her last November. Corrie and I, we used to meet up and have coffee, and she was saying that there were several oncologists at prominent hospitals in the United States who had cancer but refused chemotherapy They wanted to try an alternative like cannabis oil. And I said to her, isn't that interesting? Here they are dealing with chemotherapy, but they won't take chemotherapy. And
Absolutely.
And I think that was your savior partly, the fact that you didn't take it.
Right. Right. And one thing that really stuck out in my mind too, talking to Corrie, is that she just shared the protocol. She wasn't, she wasn't saying don't do traditional medicine.
That's right.
Don't do this. Don't. She just was like, this is what it is. If I highly recommend, Keith, that you do research yourself on here, but this is what I found has helped people. But it wasn't. She wasn't like trying to sell me anything or push anything on me or anything like this. And we live in such a consumer society. A lot of us are just very cynical about stuff. But she came across so genuine. And then obviously, as I learned more, I was like, oh my gosh, she's been working with patients. She told me, but she's really been working, just like you say, 7 days a week for 13 years. Yeah, or whatever amount of time since she cured her, and cleared herself. So, it was a fantastic, life-changing conversation. At the time, I didn't realize how life-changing, of course, that it was. I was like, okay. I'm like, I didn't buy anything that night. I didn't order anything. I didn't do anything. I just took the information, had a great conversation with her, asked as many questions as I could because I didn't really know that much about it. And I remember her sense of humor. I asked her something and she looked at me and I thought the screen had frozen because it was quiet for a second. And then she goes, well, you haven't been paying attention for the last 15 seconds or something like that. That was just Corrie, in a nutshell. And I was like, no, I was listening. I'm just, there's so much information. I'm trying to process it all. Yeah. But she was great. And she's like, no problem. She's like, here, let's rewind, start right here, and here's what we're going to do. So, or here's what you can do.
So you got the cannabis.
Yeah. So I got the cannabis. And that was another thing. She explained all the things to me about, because I was like, oh my gosh, once again, I'm going to get high and all this stuff. And she's like, no, you're not, if you're doing it through suppository. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. So we talked about that. I actually watched some YouTube videos about people talking about it in other cannabis companies and so forth, about how using suppositories does not get you high. Basically, it doesn't hit your liver. It travels through your lymph nodes. Finally hit
that's what you needed, your lymph nodes.
Yes. And she was saying it goes along the meridian, basically, of your digestive tract in the lower area, of course, through your spine, which I had spread on my spine, and then to your brain. Oh, and they did do a brain MRI. I was clean there, so it hadn't spread to my brain yet. So I already knew that, but still. And and listening to her, talking to her, and she even told me too, she's like, Keith, we may not talk again. I'm always available. You can always message me, but you got to understand, I've got I don't even know what she said, 7,000 unanswered emails in my inbox right now. So she's like, and that wasn't like a takeaway, like a sales thing. This is the most genuine person ever. And with this, and I was just like, oh, okay. And she goes, but always feel free to reach out. I also want to give a shout out regarding the cannabis oil to Swan Apothecary and Robin Swan, who also is, anyone listening, one of the most knowledgeable, just an absolute subject matter expert. No kidding. She's been doing this for decades in cannabis for healing, for true healing. And she's just been absolutely fantastic, a wholeheartedly trusted source, and always answered any texts or phone calls I had. And I know how busy she is too. So she is another one out there that is just, I'm in awe. I go, oh my gosh, where's bandwidth for this? For all this.
Robin and Swan Apothecary are one of our affiliates, and Robin is based in San Diego, and she is just a wealth of information. And so you get the oil, and I assume you did suppositories because you're. Yes. I don't want to say this, Keith. You're a bit of a coward to take it orally. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. No. I know. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. So no, I still remember too. And it was like, I only, I have a fantastic wife who obviously was helping with the suppositories, and so forth. And I remember even the first one, I was like, oh my gosh, just a little bit, just in case, you know what I mean? I had, just in case. And I remember Corrie talking about like, oh, I had my friends and they locked me in a room just in case. And 9 hours went by and nothing happened. But she was eating it. I don't think she was eating suppository. She was just eating it. But, but for me, nothing. And within, I did that for one day, a couple doses. And then the next day, I was on the protocol and doing the full amount, which is, I know it's not a gram of everything, but the total amount of, material of oil or material and carrier fluid and all that was a gram, a day, absolutely a day, with some supplements and so forth. And, it was never high. Did I eat some? I did. As time went on at night before going to bed, I would have, cause I'm like, I think I need to get some in my body. And I even would talk to Corrie or message Corrie and Robin at different times and, say like, has anyone ever been cleared with just suppositories? And like Corrie would send me a voice message back. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, lots, Keith. Yeah. You could be confident that a lot have. And, so yeah, I started on that and,
did your cough stop?
It stopped. I'll tell you the updates on, or, the progress on it. Yes. My cough stopped probably within 3 weeks, maybe less than 3 weeks. It was a noticeable, quick amount of time. And what I found out... go ahead.
Did you know at the time when your cough stopped, this is working, I've got it? Or did that come later?
That came later, honestly, Ian. It stopped, and what I found out... Well, I found out why it stopped, but at the time I was like, oh, it did stop. It was definitely a good sign, but this was still a new thing and so forth. And so I didn't know like how the progress should look or anything like this. All I was thinking in my head was the same thing that a lot of people out there have heard with Rick Simpson, right? Which is you need to do 60 grams in 90 days. 60 grams in 90 days. And I know Robin talks a lot about it where she says like, no, everybody's different. That used to be the old protocol. Even Corrie, I know, was talking about it. She didn't say that at that time to me, I don't think. And she never told me to do 60 or 90. I just had read about it. But there's always doubt creeping in my mind because I was like, when they say 60 and 90 days, I kept thinking, well, that must mean they're eating it or, they're taking it orally. And I'm not doing that. So I have this doubt the whole time. I mean, I'm positive, but I have this little doubt in the back of my mind the entire time going like, because I'm doing suppository, is this really going to work? Is this really, because I'm not eating it. It's not going and hitting my blood-brain barrier, going to my bloodstream right away and hitting my liver and everything. But I'll tell you, the end of March was the first CAT scans and CAT scan with contrast. And, the 2-inch tumor, for example, on my right lung, it shrunk by half.
Wow. Yeah.
Most of my abdomen nodules and tumors, cancerous, were resolved. They didn't show.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know even after March,
and you started taking the oil when?
I started doing the oil on December 21st of 2024.
Okay. So
that was
roughly 3 months. Yeah. And to be and Ian, I was so grateful, and I have to say, in all, I don't know, humans are weird. Like, in all reality, I go, my gosh, they said 60 grams in 90 days. I've done 90 in 90 days. Why aren't I I'm not like being like, oh, why aren't I cured? But I was like, oh wow, it didn't shrink it, or it's not working as much as I thought it was going to be. How unrealistic, and ridiculous is that, Keith? So, yeah, I was like. I was almost like, oh my God, is it really working? Well, I'm like, is it the targeted therapy that's shrinking it? Because my doctor told me most patients, 80% of them get tumor shrinkage in the first quarter.
or in the first scans. So I'm like, is this really the oil, or is this the and the reason my cough stopped is because the tumor was blocking part of my airway and irritating it. And that's why I was coughing. So as it shrunk, it opened the airways again. I also had fluid in the right side as well, of the lung, which often happens. They have scarring when you get lung cancer. Like one of the ways, that's why I got the soreness. There was fluid and scarring that was happening from the growth and what it was doing to the tissue. So, yes. So March, it had shrunk. My abdomen had resolved. I still had one in my left side. My left lung looked like still some on my spine. They weren't totally sure on my ribs any longer, though. But things were definitely moving in the right direction. So I honestly, yes, of course, I felt much better about it. And I even remember telling my wife, I was like, I know this is going to work. I've now listened to enough of these shows, read enough, and seen enough that I just need enough time. This is going to work. Hopefully I'm not going to be in the 20% or whatever it is, I'm going to be in the 80% that this works. And I'm like, it seems to be working. So I continued, of course, for the next 3 months. I still traveled and stuff, and what have you. But continue the protocol no matter where I was and what I was doing. And then, at the end of June 25th, June 26th, I had my second, actually that'd be considered my third, because back in November was my first. So my third CT and CT with contrast. And the 2-inch tumor in my right lung had shrunk to the size of a ladybug. Wow. And there was nothing else seen there. There still looked like there possibly was one in the left. They couldn't tell on my spine anymore because they said, we see something there, but it also, the way it looks, also or looks like that to tumors that are dead or dying and that have been treated. They also kind of have that thing or that look. So my oncologist said at the time, at the end of June, she goes, okay, things have shrunk enough that I'm going to send you to a radiation oncologist to see if we can do targeted, radiation to kill the remaining. But we won't know because we don't know how many. We can't see. The CAT scan can see, kind of sees what it looks like, but we don't know what's active. Mm-hmm. We don't know if there's other little bits that are. So if there's too much, then you won't be a candidate for it. And at this point, Ian, I got to tell you, I was like, I don't know if I want radiation because I was skeptical, and I was like, okay, doc, I'll go listen. My wife was like, oh, you need to go listen, and I'm like, okay, I'll go listen. But I'm like, and then another relative that works in oncology in my family was like saying, oh, it's targeted, Keith, so you should be able to, tolerate it. But I was still like, okay, I'll go listen. So I went there. Long story short, the two radiation oncology doctors were like, okay, we're going to give you a PET scan. This will be the second PET scan that I've had. We want to see what's active and see if you're a candidate. You might not be because, if we find a bunch of small ones, we have to kind of weigh, the toxicity of using basically radiation on your body or not. So I'm like, okay. So I went and did the PET scan in, I think it was like late July. I did the PET scan early August of this month, actually. And I got the report. I run it through ChatGPT. So I basically know what it is before I go see the docs, and everything was dark. It's called complete metabolic response. Nothing lit up at all. No active cancer. And I just sat there, like, as I ran it through ChatGPT, because I can kind of tell a little bit what it's saying, but yeah. And I just said, put it in layman's terms. And they're like, you have no active cancer. And oh, and I remember something else too. The radiation oncologist was showing on a screen side by side my chest X-rays or my abdomen and chest X-rays back in March versus the end of June. And I'm like, on my right lung, I was like, what's all that black right there? He goes, oh, that's air. Because I don't, And I'm like, oh my gosh. So in March, there was just a little sliver of black on my right side.
Oh, your
And then
lung wasn't
in
functioning
June,
properly.
correct. In June, it was almost all filled with air. It looked like a normal lung,
Yeah.
and so forth. And I tell you, I knew this was, I mean, I really knew this was going to work. I just didn't expect to get a complete metabolic response reading off that PET scan, to be honest. Because just a couple weeks earlier in June, it still showed that I had a ladybug size, but it's dead.
So as
It-
of
it- there's- there-
as of today, you are cancer free.
Yes,
I mean,
1,000%.
that's got to be exciting as hell.
Oh my God, I know, absolutely
Yeah.
mind blowing that. And I'm so humble and great. I'm just so grateful. I looked it up too. I was kind of like, I looked it up and I was like, what? How many patients, stage 4 non-small cell, have ever taken Tagrisso and gotten complete metabolic response? And in all the formal studies ever done with the drug, only 1 to 2% have ever reached complete metabolic response, and that's only after 2 years of the drug in conjunction with any combo of radiation, chemo, or therapy. I did it in 9 months with cannabis oil. Yes, we had the targeted therapy drug with cannabis oil in 9 months, and I almost feel weird about. I mean, I feel grateful. I just feel weird. I haven't had any, knock on wood, I haven't had any radiation. I haven't had any surgery, and I haven't had any chemotherapy. And if I'd listened to my first doctor, who absolutely was insisting, she not only insisted I do the chemotherapy with the targeted therapy, and God bless her, I don't fault, I know doctors can get personally paid on this. But I know in her mind she's trying to help me.
Yeah.
She was so gung ho about it that when I left the office, before I even got to my car and hit the front seat of my car, I received a call from her office trying to schedule me for chemo. I just left her office and they're trying to schedule me for chemo.
You know what?
I said,
you're not the first person to say that. As soon as they were,
and I told her as I left the office. Yeah. I want to think about it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you thought about it walking out to the car, right? And then they phone you.
I know, the scheduler is like calling me already.
Keith,
so I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah, your story is remarkable. Has it changed your perspective on life and health?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, just learning about the endocannabinoid system and, how 2-AG and NMNide are almost identical to THC and CBD and so forth. And learning all about that has absolutely altered my perception of health, definitely insurance and the pharmaceutical business. What a travesty, unfortunately, it is that we have something out there. There is something that can absolutely help, regardless. Even if you're in good shape, even if you're in good health, we have something that can absolutely. People tell me too when they talk to me now and so forth. They're like, "Dude, you look like you're like 10 years younger than you did before you were diagnosed." And I know it's CBD and cannabinoids.
Yeah,
I know it is. And so forth. Yeah, my whole perspective. Also, to I know it's cliche, but it's true. You have to appreciate life. I mean, that's why we were traveling and doing a lot of stuff, because we were making memories. My wife was thinking, "My gosh, I'm going to be a widow," and we better make some memories, and so forth. But yeah, it's my whole viewpoint and thoughts about cannabis, of course, but just the whole, just medicine in general, and our bodies our bodies will heal ourselves if we allow it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If we give it put in the right fuel, the right things into the engine, our bodies know what to do to heal ourselves. The problem is our homeostasis gets out of whack, which mine did, obviously. And also just, stress levels and, work. I mean, I used to take it so seriously. I know that's like many Americans, and this it's what it is, right? We have to put food on the table, and we just, it consumes us, and it consumed me, and no longer. I know corporate America, they will have, your job replacement ad out before your obituary hits, whatever. So it's printed, so to speak, and what have you. So I don't know, just.
So Keith, in conclusion, what would you like to say to Cannabis Health Radio listeners about cannabis and your story and other stories that you've listened to?
Yes. One thing I would say is this, honestly, the best thing you can do is just have an open mind and educate yourself. I mean, I hear everyone say that, but it's very true. Educate yourself. But in reality, what do you honestly have to lose? What do you have to lose? This isn't snake oil. This isn't some fringe thing. This is outside of the United States, my gosh. I mean, we know that, Israel, Colombia, over in Europe, like Spain, like this is, cannabis is used for serious health conditions, not just cancer, as we know. Listen to all these podcasts. There's hope out there, because the thing that I know is one of the big killers with cancer, of course, is just it can, if you let it, it's easy. It can sap you, and this is me, and I'm so fortunate. I almost feel guilty about it. I hear some of these stories of people that have been radiated forever or gone through so many, conventional things that are allegedly supposed to help them. And I'm telling you that I can't imagine how that's why I'm impressed by the spirit of these people that go through this and then find cannabis oil. I'm just so grateful I found it. Keep an open mind. I'm living proof. No matter what happens going forward, Ian, I'm so absolutely grateful to you, to Cannabis Health Radio, to Corrie, to Robin Swan, Cousin H, my wife, because the solution exists out there for many, many people. I'm not saying it's going to help everyone, but for many, many people. What do you have to lose? And I'm telling you, cannabinoids are good for you regardless. It's good for you. Everyone says eat more fruits and vegetables. Put more cannabinoids into your system. Exactly. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying, but you know what I'm saying? And keep an open mind. What honestly do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by at least looking into it and taking that leap? I'm living proof. No matter what happens going forward, yes, I have to keep getting scanned going forward. I have to, once you have cancer, I understand. I understand the deal. But I also understand no one can take that from me, that I have gone from massive spread of stage 4 in 9 months to stage 0 with cannabis oil. Like, I don't know what else, for me, I'm not only sold, I'm in. Yeah. I'm in, and it's been absolutely life-changing, inspiring, and it gives me a reframing and a new perspective that, quite frankly, I don't, besides having children, I don't know what else is more powerful for me, honestly.
Keith,
I'm grateful every single second of it.
I love your story, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. And I love your attitude, and I think it's exemplified in your T-shirt, "Hang Loose." Which...
Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks. I know. Anybody listening, feel free to reach out. I'm serious. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not the cure all end all. But like I said, I'm just so grateful. So far for what's occurred for me that I'm happy to talk to anybody and share, answer anything, share my experience, share anything, any questions that you might have. I'd also highly recommend. There's a lot of great places. Do your research on if you're going to get product or even if you're just going to get some CBD, do your research on it. Like Robin says, look for places that have lab reports. And I'm telling you, if you want, you don't even need to go far, because Robin's already been vetted by thousands and thousands and thousands. So, and she's just a fantastic human.
Yeah, we have. I mentioned earlier that Robin is one of our affiliates. Her stuff is lab tested, and Al Morenton of MyFit Life, his stuff is lab tested as well. So you got to get the good stuff and stay away from the scammers on the internet. And Keith, great to talk to you. I appreciate it, and
Likewise,
all the best in the future.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. You can find more information and check out all our past episodes at cannabishealthradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and follow us on social media and our Rumble channel. This podcast is listener supported, so if you've found it helpful, please consider making a donation, big or small, right on our site. And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please share it with them. Leaving a quick review also helps others discover us. We really appreciate you being here. Thanks again.